Hey, campers! It's your junior woodchuck counselor, Rob Hot Sauce Haynes, just imploring you one more time. Please, if you enjoy us in your ear holes each and every week, do us a favor and go on iTunes and write us a review, give us a 5-star rating or something like that, or just share, spread the good word to your friends, either by clicking the little share guy, or just telling somebody out here in Meat World. We'd appreciate it. It would do our little black hearts good. Muchas gracias.
Welcome to Letters from Camp Blood, a journey, a review,
a ramble through the horror and genre films of our wayward youth.
I'm Josh Lewis.
And I'm Rob Haynes. Adjust the tracking on your VCR.
Because now the killing starts.
And hello again, everybody. You were listening to Letters from Camp Blood. I am your junior woodchuck counselor, Rob Hot Sauce Haynes. And alongside me, as always,
your severed human foot of a co-host, Josh Lewis.
Okay, I'll take that.
That's all I have. I told you, it's hard to keep that up. It's hard to keep going. And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put this kind of pressure on you.
Yeah, usually it's more obscure things that I put as myself whenever I do my introduction. But this one just had so much foot.
This was a foot-heavy episode.
There was a
or
lot
will
of,
be, anyway.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, there was a lot of neck sweat.
Yeah.
A lot of milk guzzling, like Stone Cold.
Yes.
And foot.
And I'm going to tell you right now, it was a lot more erotic than I was expecting. And joining us today, friend of ours, funny man, and one of the co-hosts of a brand new podcast that is sweeping the nation. Which is better? Oh, yes, the podcast that settles that long-standing argument, which is better. Ladies and gentlemen, Gary Fletcher.
Hey, everybody. It's so good to be here. My name is Gary Fletcher, host of a podcast that Rob mentioned.
Well, thanks for coming, Gary.
Thank you for coming.
It's good to be
over.
here. Having fun.
We're quickly turning into like the NPR for creeps, aren't we?
Oh, that's my biggest fucking dream. That's all I've ever wanted to do is fucking just have an NPR where it's okay to say cunt.
National Pervert Radio.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Does the N stand for national in NPR?
You know what? Actually, I did some poking around. NPR no longer stands for anything.
Really?
It's kind of like KFC. Like
You mean since Barack Obama?
Yes.
Been out of office, NPR stands for nothing.
If you stand for nothing, you're gonna fall forever. It's ever since they went digital and almost everything they produce now is mostly podcasts. They're like, well, we don't really feel comfortable calling ourselves radio, but at the same time, we're not going to not call ourselves NPR.
Yeah.
That'd be gross. So, like I said, also KFC and the big urban legend is it doesn't stand for Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore because it's not chicken, man.
Yeah, so Kentucky Fried Chicken's just a test tube full of meat, right?
I'm pretty sure.
And they shape it or something.
It's made from feet.
It's made from old severed foots.
Kentucky Foot Chicken. That's where they get you, man.
Every time.
Well, no, I've heard that urban legend's been around for a while, and there's always Wendy's uses worms instead of hamburger meat.
Mm-hmm.
I can't they figured out that worms are 1,000 times more expensive per pound than ground beef is because as Josh said in the last episode, ground beef can just be peckers and lips.
Hush puppies are actually dog balls.
Everybody knows that. Yeah,
not a lot of people
deep
know
fried.
That. Most people don't know that actually dog balls have slivers of onions all up in them.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And spices.
Spices. All right. 11 herbs.
You kids can test that out on the family dog. I mean, a lot of people say don't try this at home. I say everything that you see, you should at least give it a good old experiment.
Try everything once. Yes.
Yeah, in the spirit of Mr. Wizard, go ahead and do an experiment.
Do an experiment. Actually, it's funny you should bring that up. I was a bit of a creepy kid. I'll give you that. I did not know when we went and had the dog's balls cut off, I asked if they would give them to me in a jar because that seemed like something that would happen on television all the time. People would get their appendix out and then they'd give it to them in a jar of formaldehyde. And I'll tell you right now, they won't.
You've actually got them in a locket on your neck. Right?
It's actually, they're two of those those stress balls.
I'm thinking the vet just was like, I'm not giving you my prized possession of severed dog balls.
Oh, these are mine.
Yeah, this goes on my wall of fame.
He just adds them to this large rubber band-esque ball of nothing but like dog balls.
Just he's building the world's biggest gonad.
He's like it's like a Chuck E. Cheese ball pit with just dog testicles.
Oh, it's so slimy.
Gross.
Why does it smell like baloney? Anywho, we watched BrainScan, y'all.
Yeah.
We are abandoning the idea of the season of sequels because we're almost done with the season. And man, not unlike the first season where we did the Friday the 13th movies, the genesis, the idea seemed great on paper, but fucking practice, it's trying.
Yeah.
We were getting to the point where we were trying to find movies that had sequels that were worth watching, but also at the same time, like there's a certain fucking level of affection we have to have, and I only compare it to like the MST3K guys when they pick their movies. You want a movie that's bad, or has a certain camp quality to it, but it can't be so god awful that you can't get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was happening a lot. Like I found myself standing over the fucking Leprechaun 4, Leprechaun in Space DVD, just like rocking back and forth and sweating like I was about to jump off of a fucking cliff. I'm like, oh, all right, man. I'm like trying to psych myself up into it, and yeah, couldn't do it.
Yeah,
couldn't do it.
I've heard that once you stare into the void, it stares back at you. So
It takes a lot.
yeah, it takes a lot. It won't be long before you become that version of a human. You become the Leprechaun 4 Lost in Space
Like,
human.
It's one of those things. Without rules, there is chaos, and without chaos, there is something. I don't know.
That's what happened to me. Like in my mid-20s, I was just like, am I really going to sit here and watch Thanksgiving? Is that where we're going? Like, I think I finally stopped.
And Thanksgiving, because it was about the time around Thanksgiving came out that the trauma people, God bless them, they were such a big part of my fucking youth. But like the idea of the purposely bad horror movie being sold for camp value got real big, and it really started to piss me the fuck off.
Oh, it's terrible.
Birdemic.
Yeah.
Wait, that was on purposely bad? Because I've never watched it.
I thought it was.
Birdemic, I don't know, because if you listen to interviews with the guy that made it, he does seem batshit insane.
Wasn't he like an Asian guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that might have a little bit more of the Room type quality, but like definitely Thanksgiving. Like I said, a lot of the output of Trauma Entertainment in the last 10 years, it's been people that are like, let's purposely make a bad movie. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like there's no heart there.
The last one that I watched that I partially enjoyed, and that's a very small portion, was
Partition is not a fucking word.
It is now. It is now. You guys, Gary even shook his head like, okay, yeah. I'm the Pied Piper now, pal.
You know who's underrated and delightful? That Jim Parsons from Young Sheldon.
I like the Parsons Family show back in the 70s. But there was it was the Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I still believe that they brought Gary Busey in and sold him a real film, and Gary Busey went, well, fuck yeah, I'm doing it up. Because he really did it up. And some of the actors in there really did it up. Just, I think the production people knew that it was a fucking farce, knew that it was a joke. So I semi-enjoyed that one, just a portion.
I will fucking fight. No, I kind of like. I feel the exact same way about like Christopher Walken's early work. Like when he started, like Annie Hall, there's no fucking way Woody Allen told him that was supposed to be a comedic role, like that creepy brother that he played and what have you. And they just kept running along with it, especially like Pulp Fiction. Ain't no goddamn way Tarantino told him, was like, this is supposed to be ridiculous. They just told him, play it straight. You're a weird motherfucker, and you're gonna win an Oscar. And then eventually, like I think it was around like that Fat Boy Slim video that like he started getting in on the joke, and it started hitting diminishing returns. But yeah, once you hit the diminishing Busey returns, just fucking stop.
Yeah.
Euh, That's the thing about like the whole digital like fucking revolution, which is a wave that we are quietly riding to upwards of 9 downloads a week. But it's one of those things like all of a sudden like anybody can get anything made, which is great. The problem is anybody can get anything made, so it's really hard to stand out.
Yeah. You gotta wade through the dog shit.
Yeah. And there's so much.
That's just been with everything. Like, okay, so this movie that we're talking, not even speaking about, took place in the early 90s. And
the era when people were still playing like CD-ROM games.
Yeah, and just people had CDs. They went to magazines and stuff. There was gatekeepers for entertainment. Yeah. And usually we believe that these people had at least decent taste. And I used to think that was like me being a teenager thinking I was being punk rock and stuff, but really I was just lonely and sad, which I think is punk rock. I would just be mad, be like, I wish everybody could, just do their fucking thing and all this stuff. And now I'm getting to live while everybody gets to do their thing.
Yeah, but
and
now
it's not that great.
Yeah, now I think we're
worse.
old and jaded now is the problem. Like, I would have been turbo into like the YouTube fucking celebrity status, like people that are just professional YouTubers. Probably would have been turbo into that when I was 14. But now at 33, I'm like, I fucking hate you kids. I don't know why you're talking about mad balls. Why do you get to be a celebrity? Because you fucking taught someone how to put on your makeup. Go fuck yourself.
See, I kind of like the YouTube stuff in a way. I feel like I find myself watching YouTube almost more than regular TV at this point. Yeah. But it's usually just like fail compilations and
I
weird
found
conspiracy videos and shit.
See, I love like the kind of mindless entertainment of it, like the fail whatever. It's the personalities that I don't understand. Like people are like monetizing and becoming
PewDiePies and shit.
Yeah, that is. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of too, because I do love YouTube quite a bit.
Yeah.
I've been watching these hood. It's a guy that will go into some of the roughest neighborhoods in America and just secret camera film it. Like he'll just hang out at 2 a.m. in Detroit at a gas station where a lot of people get stabbed. Charlie Bow, I think is his name. And you just see the absolute craziest shit, or they'll just be like, hey, I'm in Memphis, and they're getting ready to start drag racing down a very, very populated street. And everybody's like, okay, cool. And he just films it, and it is fantastic. I've watched hours of it. Thank you, marijuana.
Yeah. My absolute favorite YouTube channel, it doesn't exist anymore because it got pulled down.
Cowards.
I know, yeah. Well, it was from a kid who he would get on the PlayStation Network, and he was probably like a 15-year-old Asian kid or something, and he would pretend to be a young girl, like a 15-year-old girl.
Oh boy!
And he would he'd like try to coerce these dudes to go into a private chat with him, and then as soon as he'd get in there, he'd turn his webcam on and he'd hide out of view of the camera, and he'd be like, all right, I'm coming, just be right there in a second. And the guy would like be a 32-year-old like in his underwear, like beating off, and then he would show up. The kid would come into frame wearing like a hoodie and a scarf, like a bandana around his mouth, and he'd be like, yo, what's up, man? Why you trying to fuck a 15-year-old girl, dude? Like,
so it's like the asshole version of that Dateline.
Yeah. It was like Chris Hansen on crack, because like he would say
Chris Hansen was like the most ratchet motherfucker.
Yeah. And he would say the N-word so much too. Like his channel was actually called Expose N-Words. Like it's probably why it got deleted, but it was one of the funniest
that
things.
Also sounds like it could be the name of like a Klan run channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a lot of different things.
You trying to fuck a 15-year-old girl, dude?
See, I'm torn because like good for him for exposing these fucking assholes, but at the same time, like, man, don't be like a millennial twat about it.
Yeah. No.
At least Chris Hansen, and that's what I never understood about the Chris Hansen, the versions of that, was like, they'd get the guy to the house, they'd get him in the house, and like there'd just be like the fucking worst possible dude doing a girl's voice from the next room. I'm in the shower, leave the things that I ask you specifically to bring on the counter.
They just raise the pitch of Chris Hansen's voice.
Yeah.
Do the chipmunk thing.
It's just Chris Hansen with like grabbing his balls, just like,
Yeah. Hey, I'm just over here hanging out. Do you have the milk and the cookies that I was asking for because I'm an underage girl?
Like, oh, we caught a retarded guy. We feel really great.
Yeah, we just caught a dude that just wanted to come by.
yeah. He literally just wanted to eat these cookies.
I don't have many friends.
Which people didn't have a lot of friends. Fucking Eddie Furlong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we should probably talk about the film.
Yeah, a little bit.
What's number one? It's called BrainScan, which when you first recommended it, this was a Josh pick. Mm-hmm. I got it instantly in my head mixed up with Brain Dead and then Scanners.
Oh yeah, it's neither one of those.
It wasn't until like we got here to watch the movie they're like, oh, that's the fucking movie. Mm-hmm. So
this is a movie about Eddie Furlong, and he lives in a house by himself as I think maybe 16. He rides a scooter.
He says he's 16 and he's scared shitless.
It's like a blank check sort of situation.
Yeah, it really is. Except this blank check was written by the death of his mother and a neglectful father that apparently makes tons of money because he has a half of a house to himself.
Well, that's actually like they have to establish that in a lot of movies, especially from this era, like why no adults are stepping in.
Yeah.
So it's always got to be the neglectful father or the dead parents or something like that. Like it's not. If anybody had like a functioning mom and dad, this would have stopped a long fucking time ago.
Oh, absolutely.
This would have stopped at the third Aerosmith poster.
Which there is a ton, because the great Eddie Furlong was in the Living on the Edge video. So
Yeah.
Oh, he was. That's right.
yeah, so whoever did set design went, we're going to throw some Easter eggs in here of all the same Aerosmith posters.
Which I mentioned, I do think this might have been directed by somebody in Aerosmith. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the drummer that nobody cares about just went, hey guys, I'm artistic and I'm going to show you.
I got an idea for a movie about BrainScan. It has no brain scanners in it.
Yeah. The closest thing that it comes to a brain scan is there's one point he calls the phone number for this fake video game that is the MacGuffin for getting us into this movie. And while he's on the phone with it, he's like, yeah, it's going to scan your subconscious. And then, like, literally somebody just, like, flaps a light over him and he pretends to have a seizure.
Yeah.
He goes into the brain scan.
Yeah, he goes into convulsions, and that's the video game.
Yeah.
There's no controllers, not a keyboard nor a mouse. He sits down, goes into convulsions, gets up, and murders people.
He's just playing a Pokemon game with flashing colors.
Pokemon Go, kill somebody.
Somebody put an orange in his mouth so he didn't swallow his tongue. But yeah, like most of the movie actually takes place in like his half of the house, like an attic or whatever. That was clearly designed by a dude who was 27 in 1994, and that's what he thought kids were going to be into because it's all Aerosmith posters. And then there's a Teenage Frankenstein poster. Like there's all these like 60s and 70s movie posters, and then current shitty rock like that. I understand it was if you're into metal, like 1994 was a pretty dark time. But, yeah, no one was that into fucking Aerosmith. And if you were that into Aerosmith, you were certainly not into, like, the Hammer horror films.
If you were into Aerosmith at that time, that into Aerosmith, that meant you were probably in Aerosmith.
Yes. Yeah. Your name was Steven or Tyler. But, yeah, so it's just him hanging out with Eddie Furlong. You know, he plays Eddie Furlong, like... Edward Furlong plays the same fucking guy in every fucking movie, and it's because Eddie Furlong is not a good actor.
No. He just happened to be the kid that looked the best for Terminator 2. Yeah. That's the only thing I can figure out. Somebody just went, I want John Connor to kind of look like this.
Yeah.
Edward Furlong walked down the street, and they went, got him.
Do you look aloof and troubled? Get in the van.
I'm pretty sure he just sucked his way to the top. I think that's what happened with him.
That's something we keep bringing up because of the great Corrence Feldman. He is semi-exposed Hollywood for being a bunch of kitty diddlers.
Yeah, especially around this time.
Yeah.
Which I don't doubt that it happened, but motherfucker, stop threatening to name names and name me some names.
Yeah.
Well, no, you know what he said is that he will name names as soon as his GoFundMe or whatever hits a certain level, and then he's going to make a movie with that money. And then he'll expose all the names in that movie, but he has to get like millions of dollars.
I got to get mine first.
Exactly, so he can have a revenue stream to come back.
If they put that movie out, y'all should have me back to watch that and go over it.
Oh, we'll
Expected it. That's interesting.
I just wonder if he actually makes the movie, if it's going to be like a live depiction of him as a child getting passed around by all these directors and stuff.
Like if it was like a fucking America's Most Wanted level like reenactment.
Yeah.
Like, and this is the time Kevin Smith fucked me.
Yeah.
I think there's like some suspicion that he wasn't coming out with the stuff because he also did some shit.
Oh,
and that's how they wrap you in, is like they get you to do some stuff so you can't fucking rat on them.
But that's a big piece of the like the whole Pizzagate government Illuminati child fucking
don't get
thing.
Me started on that.
It's also a bit in this BrainScan movie because he plays a video game where he thinks that he's just in the game stabbing a man to death while he Ric Flairs around and falls down. Yeah. And then he saws his foot off. Brings it home, and then whenever he realizes it was real, the trickster's like, you can't go tell anybody because you fucking did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was the game and all, but you're the one that killed him.
He orders this game from Fangoria magazine, which God bless them for fucking A, existing, and B, they're coming back.
Really?
Yeah, they announced it. It's coming back.
In print?
In print.
Wow.
Some company bought them.
Boy,
And
they're going to go right back out of business.
Oh, sir.
They absolutely are.
I think it's going to be quarterly, and I'm sure it's going to be real limited run shit.
I would hope so. I would hope so, because I don't want to see that, like, any nerd go through that again of just being like, it's back. 2 months later, it's under again. Oh, man. I almost had enough posters on my wall from the pages of Fangoria, but...
I guess I just got to put up all these goddamn Aerosmith posters now. But he orders this game, and he starts to play in it. And it seems like a first-person, like, not quite a first-person shooter, but like a first-person slasher game.
Yeah.
Like, he thinks he breaks into, it shows him breaking into a guy's house, asks him to pick a weapon. The house has like one of those assholey kind of hanging kitchen-y implement holder things, which has like a knife and some tongs and then like a barbecue
like a spatula. And he's like, go ahead and pick a weapon. And there's only one weapon.
I would have loved to have seen him try to tong something.
Just go up there and pinch his nipple real hard.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So then he goes up there, he stabs the guy to death and then takes his foot. And when he stabs the guy gets up and he like just rolls around his own home, like he's up on the walls and knocking shit over, which I've never been stabbed to death, but I'd imagine it's a very stationary. I don't get up and I don't mosh, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Which is what this guy did. Like, it reminded me a lot of like what the fucking the scene where Freddy kills Tina in Nightmare on Elm Street, except the whole room's not flipping over. He's just pretending.
Yeah, he was like parkouring all over his bed.
Yes.
And it kind of reminded me. You guys ever watch Kenan and Kel at all?
No,
I do. Fun fact about Kenan and Kel. You know who the dad is?
Yeah, he was
Ken Faree.
Yeah, he's on the fucking what movie?
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that guy?
That guy.
Oh, no
Dawn
shit.
of the Dead, Devil's Rejects,
Rejects,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3.
Jesus Louises.
Yeah.
There's an episode, the Thanksgiving episode of Kenan and Kel's one of my favorite, and there's a part where Kel gets a turkey stuck on his hand, and he smashes literally everything in the house trying to get it off
with
his
the turkey.
hand,
Yeah.
and that's what it reminded me of. It was just someone frantically running around with a turkey on their hand.
I think this movie is just chock full of so many bad actors that guy was probably just like, they just went, hey, we can't afford another bad actor. I know you're the key grip guy.
Yeah.
So lay here and act like you're asleep, which he laid down. Whenever he walks into the room, and the way that man's sleeping is the most uncomfortable sleep in the world.
He's got like the arm that like is like he's laying on his side, and the arm that should be like underneath him is jammed out in front of him, and then the other one's like in this like awkward, like his shoulder is very tight and out, and his elbows bent. Like
He was posing.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm ready for my close-up.
It looked like someone had laid a mannequin down on their side.
Yes.
It just knocked over.
Yeah, very uncomfortable.
And then right before he stabs him, he, I guess, had a bad dream, so he just lays completely face down. Like, it's not even turns his head. He's like, whoa.
But, like, it doesn't, like, roll over like I'd imagine you roll over in your sleep, like, kind of slightly and slowly and whatever. He just, like, snaps back down as if somebody shoved him.
Like he was shocked. Like, oh.
But I think that was, like you said, there's not, like, the acting in here is very, it's not great, but, like, it's all on the same level of very muted, very... like everybody's eating a Xanax before they went to set.
It's like they're not interacting with each other.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed. Like there's a detective trying to figure out these murders.
Played by Frank Langella.
Yeah. And he just walks up, hey kid, what are you doing? And if they didn't show them in the same shot, I would be like, no, this is filmed at completely different times.
It might have been.
Yeah, that shot with him talking to his friend at the door when they were arguing.
Yeah.
Like it looked like they shot those like in different years almost, just because of the way it didn't seem like they were communicating with each other at all.
No.
See, I can understand like the Frank Langella stuff. Like, okay, we can only afford Langella for 2 days because we blew our nut on the fucking Eddie Furlong contract. So we get Frank Langella to shoot a bunch of shit and then leave. But Spacey best friend, like he's there all goddamn day. You can put him in everything.
Yeah, because I don't think he's had much work since or before.
No.
So I'm sure his parents were like, yeah, fucking milk this kid. We got to make a car payment.
Fucking, yeah. See if they'll let you keep the vest.
You keep whatever you can from craft services, I'll tell you that. And you bring it home to mommy and daddy, okay? Let's talk about the good acting in this film, and that's Edward Furlong creepily staring at a girl through the window.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
nailed
you
that
mentioned
part.
Yeah.
And she also, there's something that continuously happens in these horror movies that always freaks me out, is that there is a supposed teenager.
Kimberly in this situation.
Kimberly, that pops her top off so you can see her tits. And then you go, well, that's pretty. Wait a minute. Let me check IMDb to make sure this girl was of legal age.
So again, like we've had this conversation before. They're not going to put. They're not going to, like, even if like somebody dropped the ball on the paperwork in 1994, and you accidentally saw like a Tracy Lords-esque level like titty.
Yeah,
they're not going to keep pressing those DVDs and putting them out. Like,
Rob, I get into movies. I put myself in the situation, and so I have to think to myself, hey, where's my cell phone in 1994 so I can IMDb this?
And then, like, and we said, like, they're 16. That's fine.
Yeah.
The character can be underage.
Yes.
That's perfectly legal. The actress has to be of age. This came up like when we the lost episode we did where we watched Sleepaway Camp.
Oh yeah,
and we saw that little girl's dick.
Spoiler alert! If you never watched Sleepaway Camp,
I remember seeing it, but I don't remember that part.
Oh yeah.
How do you forget that part?
You're thinking of a different movie.
I
then.
might be.
Yeah,
okay.
You totally are.
She's a little girl dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I guess spoiler alert. In Sleepaway Camp, you find out that the murderer is like this 13-year-old girl who is actually a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Who has been gaslighted into thinking she's a gal.
Okay. Yeah.
And it has like a werewolf dick.
Yeah.
Like it is very strange. It's very fucking. I don't even know. American Werewolf in London looking downstairs.
Well, what they ended up having to do was like for the big reveal at the lake where she's naked and whatever, was they had to like make a rubber mask of the girl that had been playing her, and then find like this tiny Asian man.
It's so
Because like, he's got to have the build of a 12-year-old girl, but he's got to be 18 so we can see his dick.
Oh my
By the
God.
way, I knew what was going to happen because this has been spoiled for me for a very long time. Then we watched it, and I was like, "Well, I'm still wasn't prepared to see that.
Yeah.
Still wasn't prepared.
You're never prepared to see a little girl's dick.
Yeah.
No, you never.
check
If
that
they would
out.
have just called that movie "Little Girl's Dick," I think that it would have gotten very
Get a
popular.
lot of hits.
Definitely.
One thing that killed me about the main character, though, is like he's supposed to be like the hero of the movie, and in the very beginning, he's one, a warrior, two, making child pornography,
Ooh,
and just being a spy. And then he's a murderer.
Eddie Furlong, he gets away scot-free too. He murders at least 2 people.
Well,
yeah. Let's jump to the ending. But
Another spoiler. We find out it was all in the game.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
like EA Sports.
Maybe that's why everyone was such bad actors. They were just video game
It was
characters.
just 90s video game characters.
Just
That's this is what makes Eddie Furlong fucking making those upskirt videos of his neighbor even worse. Is like this happened in like 1994, which means he had to have like a VHS camera with a fucking long lens. Like it cost money and took time to make these tapes. It wasn't like it was like, oh, I got a camera in my phone. Fuck it, I'll just take a picture of my neighbor showing her fucking twat. But
also the acting by the great Edward Furlong is so bad that he videotapes her taking her shirt off, showing tits, like bare chested, and he's just like, my friend's calling. I better check it out. Like a 16-year-old boy that gets to see some titties on the reel.
Yeah.
That's crazy big.
He should have been beating off.
Oh, I would
through
have
the whole
exploded.
movie.
I would even have got my hand to my dick before my whole body exploded and cum. Just splash.
again, I'm 33 years old. If I'm looking at my let's go into this. This happens all the fucking time, not just in movies, but like in a lot of teen comedies from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on. There's always like the neighbor that loves to get undressed with their window open. That is also clearly in line with your neighbor, your across the street neighbors. Like they're putting on a little show for you.
Yeah. And everybody's got a fucking telescope.
Yeah.
That's true. Everybody's just like, gazing at some stars.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we moved around a lot when I was a kid, so like I had plenty of opportunity to have that magic line up, and it never once fucking did. And I don't know anybody who it lid for.
I did have when I was like 12, I had a neighbor who she would do gardening work in a bikini.
Wow.
And that was pretty fucking awesome.
That sounds real cool.
She was like white trash, but kind of hot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
just
no. Yeah, there's that white trash hot, actually, like that Jamie Presley kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
And I'd be just looking out the window.
You guys want to do that on 3?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
It was too beautiful the first time.
I'd be looking out the window and be like, yeah, pick them zucchinis. Bitch.
Oh, it looks like you missed the spot on your azalea bush over there. Why don't you go trim it a little bit?
Yeah, squash that squash.
Ooh, that's a nice cucumber you got there.
Well, you guys, speaking of like our wayward youth, when we have a first time guest, we'd like to ask them like how they got into horror movies. Like, because like it's a very post-pubescent, pre-driving a car thing. Like there's this weird magic when this movie really speaks to a lot of us. Like, what was your relationship? Like, how did you get into it?
Well, I grew up like super religious, was like homeschooled and all that shit. So I wasn't allowed to watch anything past like a PG rating.
Yeah, like not even PG-13.
I was able to watch Jurassic Park. That was the only exception.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why you love Jurassic Park?
I think
so
it
much?
is. It was the only movie I could
Makes
watch. But no, so I didn't really start watching horror movies until I was like 18. But I was obsessed with horror stuff as a kid. I remember like at church, I would draw like pictures of like I would mix horror with Bible stories. So I like had Jesus like raising from the tomb, but he's like his hands coming out and it's all like mangled and bloody and shit.
Fucking metal as shit.
I wish you still had those.
I had Jesus walking on water and then Jaws from like the Jaws poster bursting up out of the water.
Gary, I need you to go home and like do posters of these.
I was always trying to mix those genres and getting in trouble a lot in Sunday school. But then
see, if you'd have just come along in the time of Etsy, you'd be a fucking millionaire right now.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I remember I had to erase the thing of Jesus with his hand. They told me to erase it, but I did the blood and marker, so it was still just blood all over the thing.
Were you writing these like in the Bibles? Like they got the Bible, like the loner Bible in front of the pew.
I wish.
Just leaving some stuff.
I would draw on the bulletins, the church bulletin. It would have like the pastor and the song director in it, and I would like draw them to look like Frankenstein. And but then I started watching like horror movies when I was 18, and like had a couple of roommates, and we would just fucking watch horror movies all the time, just drink and watch horror movies. So I don't know. I spent like the 5 years of my 20s just that was all I did. Just watch that shit. I would watch I watched Cannibal Holocaust. I went down all those like horrible roads and saw all that shit.
There's a lot of like I've met several people that were in your position where it's like turbo conservative upbringing for whatever reason. So when they do get it, they get like fucking they've got this repression, so they're fucking going full tilt boogie. Like they're watching a Serbian film and think it's great.
And that was kind of what I was doing. It was like, I mean, because like with haunted houses and shit as a kid, that was another way that I got into horror was from hell houses and church. Oh
man, to tell the viewers, listener, whatever people are doing,
y'all motherfuckers,
y'all that's out there in real world, what a Judgment House or Hell House is.
Judgment House, Hell House. It's basically just a Christian haunted house, but it's like every room kind of has like a point to it. So it's like. One room would be about abortion. One room would be about like underage drinking. One would be about sex. So it'd be like, and then eventually you'd go to hell. That's always a part of the hell house. And then at the end you have like the option of like, hey, you want to be saved? And you're usually like, yes, please. I've seen the worst shit in my life. Because that's the thing. It's worse than a haunted house. Because like haunted houses aren't even like. Most of them are not based in reality, whereas like a hell house is like
the theme of the rooms in haunted houses are like white zombie.
Yeah. It's Freddy just a Krueger. Rob Zombie video.
Yeah,
this one is a girl dying getting an abortion.
Yeah,
because like they'll do like the full blood and guts and gore in some of them.
And there's a really good documentary called Hell House. It's one of my favorite movies. It's because it's almost like The Office and how funny it is. Like, just the people don't realize how funny they are.
Yeah.
But there's like some pretty sad shit in it too. But I mean, if you want to learn about hell houses, that's probably the best thing to watch.
Yeah. I remember they were abundant back in East Tennessee.
Yeah.
Gary also in East Tennessee.
Oh yeah, Kingsport, born and raised.
Yeah,
K-Town,
Johnson City, motherfuckers.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Even smaller, boys. Hampton, baby.
Nice.
Straight out of Hampton. But there were abundant there.
Yeah.
Like, you would just drive by. But also haunted houses were abundant too. So you could get every fix you needed. You could come out of the hell house and be like, thank God I'm washed in the blood of the Lamb. Let's go check out the volunteer fire department's haunted house because nothing can stop me.
Well, like there were a couple of times I've been to a couple of hell houses back in East Tennessee, but I was always tricked into it.
Yeah.
Because they fucking for godly people, they're fucking liars. They would they tricked me into watching the fucking that Kirk Cameron End of the World movie too.
Left Behind.
Yeah. But like it would just be like some dude from school would be like, "Hey man, we're going to a haunted house this weekend. You want to come with?" I'm like, "Fuck yes, I do." And then you'd realize you'd get to a church because they wouldn't call it a hell house.
Right.
They'd call it the whatever street Baptist church haunted house. And then you'd get in there and again you'd watch a fucking abortion and
I'm being raped. Help! That's like half of it.
yeah, like it really does have dialogue like if I'd only not drank, I'd still be alive.
Yeah.
So you do that. So like I was kind of like I don't want to say numb to them because they fucking jarring, but
Yeah.
like I said, when you get to the end, they'd be like, "So, do you want your whatever to be saved?" And I'm like, "No, you just fucking lied to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
You tricked me."
they like bury you alive at a portion. They're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you want to be saved? You want to meet Jesus?" It's like, "Yes, please,
Yeah,
God,
but
yes."
not in this manner. Yeah, I'd much rather just such a better manner to
Like,
do this.
Well, and I think because I was such like a horror nerd, like in my youth, like I understood that I had very firm boundaries between reality and fantasy. So again, while I'm watching them give the coat hanger abortion, I'm like, this isn't real. I don't care. And would get to the point where like they would bury you alive. They put you essentially in a broom closet with like 4 other people, and it's like, oh, you want to fucking accept the Lord and Savior? And I'm like, no, because you're going to let me out of this closet no matter what happens. Otherwise, you're going to get a fucking phone call from somebody.
See, I've never been to one. I knew all about them. I never been to
Yeah.
one just because.
I kind of want to go to one now.
It'd be fun,
I
guys
don't,
wanna-
well, I mean, I think they'd throw us out.
probably.
Well, if we go in there dressed nice,
Yeah.
Rob,
No,
you
we
got to
look
wear
like
long
Christ-
sleeves. We can't go in
We
there.
honestly look like Christians nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I mean, I look like just any dad now.
Yeah.
Which makes me
You guys
very
do kinda,
unhappy.
You guys do kind of remember dress the part of like. Do you remember Jim Baker's son was trying to do like the punk rock skateboarder Christians?
Yes. Yes.
You guys dress kind of like that now.
Yeah.
Like that's just what the fashion of the day is.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
We're just
Tattoos for the fucking Lord.
Cool, like contemporary Christians, man.
raise me up.
Man.
I really hope, and we can edit this out if we need to, but I really hope occasionally
no
we
circumstances,
we just
sir.
get the cat that's
yeah, we
been
can
meowing in the background the whole time.
That's-
To get on there occasionally.
I mean, Christianity does kind of lend itself to horror in a way. Like, I mean, there is some pretty horrific
The
stuff in
Bible
there.
is fucking gnarly.
The goddamn Old Testament is a fucking bloodbath.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a fucking Slayer video.
There's that one story in the Bible where, like, some dude stabs a fat guy. Like, it even says in the Bible he was a very fat man. And it says when he stabs him, like, the knife gets sucked up into the guy's stomach.
Jesus.
And then it says, and then the dirt came out. Like, that's what it's, and I think it's talking about, like, shit, like,
Yeah.
starts
Holy
busting
moly.
into
This
his
guy
gut.
just had like an intestinal problem. That's all it was. He wasn't phased, just like, ow, guys, I'm backed up. And he's like,
needed a
here, I'm
colonic.
just going to cut your guts out and let all the shit fly
Well,
out.
it's like the fucking story of Passover is we're going to kill a firstborn of all these people with a sword. And the only way you're going to get out of it is to take the fucking sacrifice a lamb so you can get its blood and rub it all over your door.
Yeah. That's, by the way, guys, the reason why we're talking about anything but BrainScan is because we've already told you the action part of BrainScan.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing else that happens. There's some adults that get mad. There's
a weird sexual tension between Frank Langella's detective and then
Yeah.
Eddie Furlong's Eddie Furlong.
Yeah. And then other than that, there is not a whole lot that happens.
Yeah.
You have the trickster guy that comes out, which, by the way,
Yeah.
is I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to set up a franchise-type slasher thing, so they brought him out. But, by the way, that falls so flat, it's not even laughable.
No.
That character is so horrible. And he's supposed to be like the drop dead Fred, like cool, like, oh man, this guy's a fucking badass. But
this
you're just
movie,
like,
I think,
this
is
dude
like
sucks.
That's exactly it. I'm glad that you said that because he absolutely, if you're listening, guy that played Trickster, you fucked up, man.
Yeah.
I looked him up on IMDb, and like it's this, and then like a lot of voiceover work, and then some Broadway, and that's about all.
He's probably a psychopath then, because most voice over actors I feel like are insane. So he seems like he's probably pretty fucked up.
Yeah, he reminds me of at least the character Trickster is like that cool uncle that you're supposed to find funny, but it's not funny at all. It's always coming like, hey, I got some jokes here. Look at me, like I got a mohawk for the occasion.
Yeah.
And you're like, God damn, you're embarrassing.
He's like what's a 30-year-old would think kids think is a cool person.
Yeah,
He's Poochie from The Simpsons. He's what, like I said, it's fucking sunglasses and attitude.
Yeah. And he's got like Winona Judd hair.
Yes, he's got crimson fucking hair that is done up like super high.
Tall and proud like the mighty oak tree.
Yes, and it's shaved on the sides to make it kind of look like a mohawk, but it's kind of not.
It just makes it look like he has a very bad receding hairline.
Yes,
that's all it is.
The worst widow's peak of all time.
All right, full disclosure, confessional time. I traditionally shave my head, but I've gone like a week without it now. So it's getting to the point that like if I can't shave it myself, I have to go to a barber to get like the top layer taken off.
This explains why you're wearing a top hat right now.
Well,
so.
that's I'm fancy. So like it's growing out farther than I cared for, and now I'm like on there like I have to make the decision: do I just grow my hair back out, or do I break down and go to a fucking barbershop? Which is one of the reasons I started going fucking bald route. Anyways, I hate going to the barbershop. But there was a very brief moment last night where I may or may not have been kind of high. And I thought about trying to shave it into like a fucking real, like a Chuck Liddell mohawk, like the real cropped in piece of shit mohawk.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about it because I came way too fucking close to it. And I worry that if I'm going to do it, like I'm still going to have the bald spot in the back, which means there'll be like a little gap. Like it'll just be like a 2-inch wide strip of hair, nothing, and then a 2-inch wide strip of hair.
If I could give you some advice via like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy type stuff on Netflix, just stop at the bald spot.
Yeah. That's what I do.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just make it nice and symmetrical right there in the back, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
I also feel like a mohawk at 33 is like a midlife crisis kind of situation.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I go through the same thing all the time.
Like if you're like novelty hair of any kind is it's not a great look, but again, I can be like I can be convinced that like I can pull that shit off.
You should at least give it a trial run. I grew my hair back out long. You guys know me, so you know this. And it looked fucking terrible. And I kept it for a year of people telling me, God, that looks awful. And I'm like, no, it's going to get better. Rob, if you give it 2 months, that's fine. Just if you feel like it's weird, and I'll let you know.
Okay, I guess that's what I'm looking for. Like I need you two. Frankly, this is your curse to be my fucking Jiminy Cricket on this.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Yeah, because mine was real bad. And then I read on the internet that you're not supposed to wash your hair very often, so my hair got greasy. And so it was stringy and greasy. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. I look at old pictures and I'm like, oh, Jesus. I was like, man, thank God that was a long time ago last year.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like, trying to reclaim your youth is such a fucking slippery ass slope.
Oh, yeah.
Mine was less of a reclaim the youth and more of just like, can I do this?
Right.
I can't do it anymore.
I would do this in defiance against God himself.
Yeah, my hair's not falling out, but it sure as fuck ain't growing lush. We'll just say that.
I tried to grow mine out a little bit last year, and I was just like, it just makes it look thin. It makes it look too thin.
Dude, it showed off, like, right now you can't tell I have a total fucking Kevin Spacey Widow's Peak type deal going on, but whenever the hair grows out, I was
it
like
accentuates it somehow.
Oh, it's horrible.
I used to have, like, the shoulder length fucking, like, badass hair, at least in my own mind. But what I found out is, like, when I started getting the fucking bald spot in the back, the longer the hair got, the more prominent the bald spot got, because A, contrasting comparison, and B, like the individual hairs would get longer and start pulling away from the spot. So like when I shaved it to a normal length, I was like, oh, now it's much smaller.
It's true. It's
God.
true.
And then I scorched the earth.
That's our new segment here on Letters from Camp Blood.
Hair
Is
talk.
yeah.
I'm dying.
I've cut my hair high so many times. That's it's usually like 2 a.m. I'm just like, I need a fucking haircut so bad, and I'm just like, yeah, let's go ahead and start this. And then like it's 3 hours later, and it's 5 a.m. And then usually you're like,
You're missing
is
an
this
eyebrow.
the mark of mental illness? Like shaving.
Yes, it's a Pink Floyd video I'm going through.
If someone saw me shaving my head at this time of night with my eyes this bloodshot, they'd be like, dude, you need to talk to somebody.
You're what we call an active shooter.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I would send in a SWAT team instantly. I would make up, so I'd be like, yeah, he's strangling somebody in there. I don't know what it is.
He's one buzz cut away from a manifesto.
I when I first started shaving my head, and I've gotten much better about it now, but frequently I would shave one sideburn by mistake and then not realize it, and then just walk around with like one sideburn for like 7-8 hours because like I've left the house, I've gone to work, I'm out doing shit, I can't go back home and even up.
I don't. This is the longest I've had my beard for. Like, this is really hair talk now. This is how bad BrainScan is. It fucking sucks.
It was a 3-hour long Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah,
With
absolutely
less
was.
tits.
Yeah.
Well, they were certainly pointier, which I think makes it it's a quantity over quality thing.
Yeah, I don't want to body shame her at all, but her tits.
Fuck that, I loved them.
Oh, they were great, but they were very pointy.
Exactly. I'm not ashamed. I'm just saying they were very pointy.
They were more pointy than the trickster's teeth.
I will go so long as we're going to body shame people. The gal in this movie, lovely ginger gal, very plain in the face.
Yeah.
But for some reason worked for me.
Yeah, I kind of like the girl next door look like that.
Yeah,
You know?
for a 16-year-old girl.
She's 18. She's 18.
I looked it up. She was like 23 during this.
Oh, yeah, you can tell.
Thank God.
Again, this was back during the I don't really want to what to call this theory. This was back in the day when like they hired 25-year-olds to play teenagers so that they could get naked and then work them for 18 hours straight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere along the line, Nickelodeon and the Disney Channel started putting real teens and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So now whenever I see like teenagers in a horror movie, they're using like age-appropriate teenagers, which makes me think they're fucking children.
Yeah.
Like even younger than 16. Like I think that's like I watched My Soul to Take, which Wes Craven. Piece of shit. Worst fucking thing he's ever done. And it was his return to the fucking teen horror franchise and what have you. And he used these kids that were really 16 years old, but they looked like they were fucking 12. And they're smoking, and that bothered me.
You're going to stunt your growth.
No, they seemed youthful enough that, like, I don't even think they should be fake smoking. And then, like I said, they would get kind of, like, sexy time. They never got naked, thank Christ. But it was just fucking off-putting. I didn't care for it.
MTV released a series after the movie Scream, appropriately called Scream.
Yeah.
And the beginning of it is a gorgeous blonde girl that gets into a very revealing bikini. I guess all bikinis are pretty revealing. They barely cover up anything.
By nature.
Yeah, and so she's out hanging out.
Bikinis are a very legal definition of not nude kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. A pervert's dream.
Yeah. I'm just saying, by the way, ladies, under boob. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side, bring the top and side back.
Yeah,
too.
top and I want to see top, side, and I also would love a nice tramp stamp here and there. Whatever. Anyhow.
That's how you can tell you're an East Tennessee boy.
Oh, yeah.
I
bet you like those belly button tattoos that go all the way around the belly button.
Absolutely.
Like a little sun.
Yeah,
those are like 98,
I like
99.
belly button piercings, and I like belly chains.
Belly chains.
Belly
Excuse me,
chains.
It's like a wallet chain.
It's
That
a
goes,
wallet chain around the belly. God, it's so cool. Anyway. So she goes out. She's pretty much half nude. I would say 3/4 nude. Goes out there. She gets killed, but she was gorgeous. And I was like, she is playing a teen, so I got to check this out because it didn't show any nudity. So there's the red herring in that.
So then why did you even bother?
Well,
You didn't see anything
I didn't see
illegal?
anything bad. I was having bad thoughts. So being also raised up Christian, I had to go solve this.
That's on you. There's nothing you can do
that was
about
on
that.
me.
I'm just saying, like, there's no amount of documentation that's going to make that okay.
Well, it didn't make it okay because she was underage.
What movie is
I felt
this?
terrible. Scream the TV show.
Oh, okay.
It's
And
broadcast
it made me
on television.
I felt terrible. I was like, good God, why would they even put me in that predicament?
That's the thing that cracks me up a lot of time about like Hollywood. They'll like complain about people complain about people sexualizing our children, and it's like, just turn on the fucking TV. What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
It's all anybody ever does.
Yeah.
We've been doing that forever.
Beauty pageants and shit.
Oh, yeah, like some John Benet Ramsey
Yeah.
shit. That was like, I never knew that was real. And this was about the same time as BrainScan, too, and all this shit went down. And it was just like, next thing you know, you turn on the news, and it's like a pedophile's wet dream.
Oh, yeah.
There's just constant kids out there parading around in revealing clothes.
Yeah.
And I just go, don't you realize you're making this worse?
Yeah.
And like the whole, like, don't get me wrong, I'm just as big a part of the problem, but like true crime has like become a fucking thing in the last like 18 months. And I think it was ever since what was the Netflix series?
Making a Murderer.
Making a Murderer. Yeah. They did another one about the John Benet murders. I think it was NBC did a miniseries about it. Like, they're finding all these old cases of murders and what have you. And then, like, Investigation Discovery and Oxygen, which Oxygen used to be like a channel for women. Now it's a channel for perverts. Because they went full-blown true crime shit on it. So, like, it's like there's all this content now of, like, these terrible child murders, but like somewhere out there's just got to be some dude in a basement like doing things you ought not, watching these shows.
He's not checking IMDb to make sure everybody's of age.
I don't think he's there for the intrigue of the crime. He is not trying to solve this crime. He doesn't care anymore.
Dude, that would be a good idea to do a child murder podcast, because everybody does the just regular murder podcast these days. So just hone in specifically on killing kids. That's right. I mean, you'd get attention.
You'd get tons
that's
of
a bold
Kill
move.
Kids, the podcast.
Yeah, it'd be like piles of dead babies.
Yeah.
Fuck
Get a lot of
your dead
hits.
Yeah, fuck your dead kid.
Fuck your dead kid.
Comma, your dead kid.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that comma's very
Yeah, it's a
important.
very important comma. That's one of the most important commas I've ever witnessed. But in case any of you of our creepiest campers.
Campers. We're the counselors.
Creepy. Yeah, we're the creepy.
We need to
counselors.
make sure that we're above them.
Yes, that's true. Don't think you're better than us, you motherfuckers. If y'all want to start a podcast about real life child murder, please do, and please let us know at Letters from Camp Blood.
Letters from Camp Blood at gmail.com or Bloodcamper on Twitter.
See how we snuck that in?
I'm going to ask for no photos, but
No photos,
follow your
please.
heart.
I don't want to see any dead children.
Have we gone into the milk thing much?
No. That was also incredibly troubling.
Yeah, well, let's get back to the movie. Just in case people are like, oh, Jesus,
Okay.
what's going to happen now?
So, like, Eddie Furlong, he's playing the video game, and it's like first person of him murdering somebody and then taking his foot, which they never explain why he takes the foot.
He says he needs a souvenir. The complete
Okay, so
mission.
he takes his fucking, and I'm not trying to like get inside the mind of a killer, but one of the other victims, he takes like a necklace.
Yeah.
Which is like something most like a lot of serial killers that do take trophies. They take rings or jewelry or fucking ID or something like that. This guy took a foot from stage one. Like, first thing he thought, like, there's all kinds of shit in that room he could have taken. He knocked over like a bookshelf that seemed to have like, for like, even though it was 94, a bunch of DVDs and shit on it. Grab one of those. Because they show
the
him
knife that he killed him with. He could have just took that.
Yeah.
They show him
Leaving that behind.
hacking the foot off, and it looks like a lot of work in movie world. Like, taking a foot off in real world out here in meat world, incredibly difficult because you got to get through that bone. But it seemed like a fucking day's work in Eddie Furlong. Are You Afraid of the Darklands? Like, they had to show him sawing away at it, and he's using a butcher knife. Which, if you're gonna cut like fucking through bone and shit, like you want a serrated something or another.
That's true, yeah.
You know, fucking right tools for the job.
Maybe that's why that guy was sleeping so bad. He just had shitty feet, shitty ankles.
He had poor bone density.
Yeah.
It's poor bone density.
My bones are actually made of cartilage.
Holy
It's,
shit!
That's the reason why he finally got to jump up and move around.
that's why he's bouncing all over the place.
That's the subtext of the show of the movie is fucking bones.
Yeah.
Fucking
Oh, yeah, the milk.
drinking all that milk.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that brings it back to the milk because
yeah.
all of a sudden when Eddie Furlong gets zapped out of the fucking video game and he's back in what he thinks is the real world, he has a TV dinner next to him that he just picks up something.
Yeah.
And he just takes a big chomp out of it, and then he's like, man, that was fucking awesome. And then he picks up a glass of milk and
Downs
chugs it like one of us grown-up tough dudes would
Yeah.
chug a beer, but most of it's leaking down his already very beated up sweat neck.
Yeah.
And it was this
so
movie, gross.
This movie had a lot of neck porn. Like,
Yeah.
it was just a
Neck
lot
stuff.
of tough man sweat
Yeah.
neck.
And I was saying, like, if somebody walked in while we were watching that movie and they came in on that scene with just the milk all over his neck and him laying there breathing heavy,
And
they'd be like,
just
what
three
the
dudes
fuck
watching?
are you watching?
Yeah, because he chugs the milk, it cascades down his neck, pretty gross.
Yeah.
He gets up, he looks out the window at the next door neighbor girl having a big party. Then he walks back over, and sits down, still beated up gobs of milk on his neck mixed with the sweat, which you know that. I mean, I was 16 once. I didn't fucking shower all the time. My hygiene was poor. So you know that kid isn't taking showers, so that's going to be clabbered up on his neck.
That room smelled like balls. Yeah. That's all there is to it.
Oh, the balls is the best smell in that room. If you go in there and you just go, is that some good scrote? And you'll be like, shoot, thank God.
It's like the only other person that we see in that room is his other 16-year-old piece of shit friend, and then his imaginary monster friend.
Oh, yeah, he has an Alexa. He has the first version of an Alexa.
Yeah, he invented
Igor.
Igor, a phone that he can voice dial, and it's got like pictures.
Igor, deliver 3,000 gallons of milk.
Okay, master.
And it's like warm too, because like they it has to be at least an hour's room temperature, because he sets the milk up, then he starts playing the game, and the game has a fucking timer. He's got to get through this shit in an hour. Which I don't fucking like. I don't like drinking milk that's been sitting like on like for the course of my meal.
Yeah, it goes bad within 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure.
It's just no.
Then you have to use it to make sour cream, and it's a big fucking ordeal. We're not
just
Amish.
fucking rub it in.
It was such a weird drink to be drinking. Like, I feel like there was it's supposed to be some sort of symbolism to it.
There was some subtext there. There has to be.
Yeah, but it just wasn't clear enough.
It's either innocence or cum, and I can't decide which one I want.
Can I say I just figured it out?
Yeah.
So the Aerosmith album in the background, Get a Grip, was a ring through a cow's udder.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
so
Aerosmith actually broke up over spilt milk.
Did they really? They cried over it?
It's a true story.
What?
I think it was like one of their girlfriends or something spilled some milk, and then Joe Perry and Steven Tyler just were done after
Just
that.
flipped the table and said, fuck it.
Are you shitting? Wait, if you guys are playing a prank on me, this is pretty good.
I'm totally.
It only happened
I saw it on Best Week Ever.
Yeah, it was not long ago.
So they literally cried over spilt milk.
Yeah, they broke up over spilt milk, so maybe that's why the milk makes an appearance.
Maybe.
Because Joe Perry directed this movie.
Can you name anybody else in Aerosmith besides Steven Tyler and Joe Perry?
Those other dudes.
I know bass guy, rhythm guitar guy, and drummer guy. And you know they're millionaires too because of that shit. But nobody cares about them.
Well, that's because Aerosmith are solid dudes and not a piece of shit like Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley.
Yeah, that is true.
Because like they just fired Ace and fucking Peter Criss, and I imagine, from what I understand, Peter Criss was a piece of shit anyway.
Yeah.
But like they fired Ace, and they just hired two guys to wear their outfits, and then those two guys apparently they don't make shit. They're just hired guns. They don't all like this. Like they don't make any of the T-shirt money. They don't make any of the action figure money.
Yeah, but
it's
they don't.
All that's like Paul and Gene.
Yeah, but they don't have to go back to working the broiler at Burger King. They they get to hang out with Kiss.
They just get paid in milk. That's all it.
Can I have some cookies with this? You're going to have to get a fucking second job.
Yes, so it was their wives, apparently. Their wives got in a fight, and one of them threw a glass of milk at the other. So the band fell apart because of that.
And not a moment too soon. I'll tell you that.
Thank God.
Okay, this is how I know you're fucking with us, Gary. There's no way that the wives of two members of Aerosmith threw milk at each other, and it wasn't like the video for a song.
Yeah.
Like, there's no just like a wet T-shirt milk contest.
Living on the edge.
If you think I'm going to stay in this band, you best dream on.
Ooh, a wet T-shirt contest with milk. That's kind of gross. Be a little gross.
This is considering the heavy milk talk, this is as bad as when we watched Cannibal Holocaust. I'm starting to get a little grossed out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard to do.
Well, we're trying.
So congratulations.
It's like in Daytona Beach, so the milk's all in the fucking heat all the time.
It's just like
chunky.
You go to if the Aerosmith milk fight happened there, it would just be like just a gob of sour cream to just flip through on the other
Shit's
one.
congealed.
It's got a hair in it.
This milk drinks like a meal.
It's not milk. It's a meal.
What if the trickster is actually just milk? He's made of milk. He's
He's rather pale. He's got a pale pallor to him.
Or if I could add another conspiracy theory to this, this is Edward Furlong just drinking this soured bad milk and just tripping his balls, because he does lay back and the game does expand his pupil bigger than anybody's pupil I've ever seen on acid.
Yeah.
Like his eyes were just completely black.
He does have those ecstasy fucking giant creepy pupils. Which that theory brings me, like, if sour milk did give you like a mushroom kind of hallucinogenic buzz, do you think you'd still drink it? Like, it still tastes like sour milk. It still tastes not just like sour, like a little off. Like, I mean, talking like chunky style.
Well, shrooms taste like shit.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they literally taste like shit.
You see like a Indian cow goddess or something. Just like poured a pitcher in slow mo.
Oh, is that why they Indian people find them sacred? I think we're fucking breaking down barriers.
Yeah. That's a Bill Hicks bit. That's the reason why they don't care. Or was that Duncan Trussell? I don't know. Is that they get mushrooms from cow shit? So
Yeah.
It's all milk connects us all. We're all connected.
we're all free flowing milk in this universe.
The Illuminati doesn't give a fuck about masonry. It's all about dairy.
Yeah, we live in the Milky Way. We have
you son of a bitch.
Wow.
Yeah, this is happening.
You know, I wouldn't have learned all this without BrainScan and the trickster's many lessons.
I'll tell you guys right now, if you're out there and you can find BrainScan somewhere, sit down on the couch with a few of your pals and just
talk about something else.
If you are looking for something that's literally going to be white noise,
you're going to be closer friends by the end of it, I tell you.
And I feel like I would have liked it too, because I love the fucking aesthetics of all this shit. I love VR type stuff.
Yeah.
But for something where he's supposed to be going into something, he never goes into it. It seems like it's all about the investigation surrounding it.
Yeah, it's literally okay. So he does this every time that he plays the game. He puts the game in the CD-ROM. Then he tells his Igor machine, his Alexa, to dial 1-800-555-FEAR is how he ordered it, which I did not understand why he had to call a phone number to do it.
That was the 90s.
Okay, yeah, it was the 90s. So
it's just like a no fear merchandise line.
Yeah, it's just cool. That's a nice sticker. And then he sits back. The game comes on. He convulses, and then he just gets up and walks out the fucking door.
Yeah.
Goes on a murder spree.
Yeah.
Drinks.
Which I guess,
more out
but
of that.
but in his own mind's eye, he does. There was one fucking there's that scene where essentially he turns the game on and then it shows bad CGI colonoscopy footage. That's supposed to be him crossing over into the murder world, I guess.
That part's confusing because of our fans that watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So the circuits of time, he goes through the circuits of time, comes out, and is in a murderous rage.
Well, there were a few movies like this, Hackers is the one that jumps out at me. The fucking early 90s, they were people were into the idea of computers, but again, these are old men making movies that don't fully understand what cyberspace is, so they just made it look like this fucking weird electric storm when it doesn't actually exist. So they're like, oh, he's in the fucking virtual world, man. Can you believe it? And I was like, no, he's just sitting there. Sitting there. Nice dewy neck.
Yeah. A lot of wet kids in this movie.
Yeah. A lot of dampness. A lot of...
Yeah. And then the movie, it basically just, the trickster just tells him to start killing people.
And he does it.
Or else. But he never says the or else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very threatening other than he plays it the first time and he murders a stranger. Which, okay, fine. And then the rest of the movie is him killing people to cover up the first murder because he says that they're witnesses, but I don't think any of those people actually saw him do anything.
No.
Yeah. And
They didn't.
Eddie Furlong never even questions it.
No. Not once. Because there is no real threat to what he's doing.
No.
Yeah, this movie was too fucking long for what it was.
Yeah.
Unless at the fucking end, at the end of the movie, the trickster is telling him to go kill his sexy time neighbor, and he doesn't want to do it, so he tells him to fuck off, for lack of a better term. And then he just wakes up.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Yeah, because he tries to merge with him. He tries to eat him. It looks like he just opens his big mouth and he sucks up in there. And then he just goes, because Edward Furlong gets possessed by the trickster. And he's like, okay, I'm going to kill this girl I love. And she goes, no, I love you too. And he goes, blah, blah, blah. And then the trickster's outside him going, boy, you can't do it, can you? He goes, no, I can't.
The power of love. It fixed everything.
It's true. And that's the power of love.
The power of secretly videotaping an underage girl from your window.
Which that's how you can tell. That was the first thing, and they could tell the whole thing was a fantasy because he's like standing over her with a fucking pair of scissors, gonna murder her. She's like, "I love you too. I seen you that you're stalking me. I've been stalking you too."
Yeah. This is definitely warp young people's perception of what love is. I would think if they watch this movie.
This gives the wrong people hope.
Yeah.
I will admit I did watch this as a teenager. I remember renting it. I don't remember hardly anything about it other than it was about a video game. I was just like, hey, watch BrainScan because it just popped in my head.
Yeah.
And I would like to see it again. And boy, I fucked up. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, no. I had a good time.
No.
What kills me, too, is like this movie could have dropped the boobs and the few times they said fuck. Sir. And it could have been PG-13 and marketed it to like teenagers and actually done well.
Because just even like the contrived way that like there's been a billion of this movie and a billion episodes of like anthology television shows of like video games. What if they're real? Oh my god! Like literally, this could have been an episode of fucking Goosebumps.
Totally, it felt like it the whole time. It kind of reminded me of that. Do you ever see that episode of X-Files where they go inside the video game?
No.
All I remember is there's a woman in a thong in it, and that's about it. But it reminded me of that.
That's all they thought. That's all they thought nerds in the 90s wanted. Is like, oh, they just want to play video games that are violent and then some titties. And they're not wrong, but
no, they're totally not wrong.
There's other shit.
Yeah, give me a little bit of a story, will you?
Yeah.
This is like Existence mixed with Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah. And a little bit, like, honestly, like, the trickster reminds me so much of fucking Little Monsters. Like, just in the he looks very similar, and then just the way he acts.
Yeah.
Like, it's very puckish, very
Jim Carrey-ish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very dickheaded, frankly.
Yeah, once again, to bring it up, it's like just that fucking annoying uncle or cousin or something that's always trying to be cool.
Yeah.
That you just wish would just fucking just deal with his life, so he wouldn't bother you.
And that's what's so funny to me about it is you could tell they thought the trickster was going to be like a hit.
Huge,
oh, dude!
Yeah.
Like they even say at the beginning, like this dude as the trickster, and you're like,
yeah.
When he shows up, but you're just like, God damn, is this going to be the only guy?
Yeah.
Does he not have a boss he works for that we could see?
It's crazy. He's trying to. It looks like he's almost dressed up like Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
Like the piano one, not the telethon one.
Yeah.
Because he has a long crush red velvet coats.
Yeah.
And that fucking weird-ass mohawk. And he has like some sort of tuxedo shirt, it looks like, buttoned up all the way up his neck.
He looks like Evil Prince.
Yeah. Yeah. Add a man on bath salts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But again, like the way they did that, and then like I said, the stupid Widow's Peak / Mohawk thing, like you could tell it was like, we're gonna make Halloween costumes of this, and we're gonna sell the fuck out of some action figures.
Yeah.
Because this is gonna be a huge franchise. This is the new Freddy Krueger. This is the like fucking Freddy Krueger is to fucking Aerosmith as Nirvana is to the Trickster. That's exactly what they were thinking.
It'd be funny if he beat the trickster by just bullying him for looking gay. Like that's
because that was a big 90s
nice
thing.
nose ring, dude.
Yeah, it'd be like cool hair.
Is that for
bro.
S&D?
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't bring this up because I mean, like we all got called the F word plenty when we were kids, especially if you're into this fucking thing. But like the two skeezy like Eddie Furlong and his scuzzbucket friend don't seem to have any kind of fucking like bully or anything in their life that would fucking galvanize them into becoming a real normal functioning person. Like a certain amount of bullying is kind of therapeutic.
Yeah.
Well, for once in a teen movie, I guess you would call this.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, there wasn't the bad bully that was the same age as them. They tried to use a bully was the high school principal.
The high school principal,
because
then a cop.
And then a cop. And they tried to use that bully mentality like that, but they're so far removed from a kid in his normal teenage day that it made for like the weird sexual tension.
Yeah, it came off as like a weird predatory like sexual thing. Because it's like, why would you give that much of an interest about this kid?
Yeah.
Unless you were trying to see his dick.
Yeah, I think this whole movie's like an analogy for Pizzagate. I'm pretty sure. They're trying to tell us something with
They're
this.
trying to be like, listen, guys, you gotta stop this.
Yeah,
you
cut
gotta stop
it out.
24 years later, we're like, wait a fucking minute.
It's like, it was all right there.
It's under our nose the entire time.
Yeah, the trickster, he represents Hollywood executives. Eddie
Franklin
Furlong is every victim.
Can we talk about the principal of this? Since we brought up that guy,
Yeah.
The principal lets the kids have an after-school club. Eddie Furlong and his creepy friend, and they have a horror movie club where they watch the most B- movies you've ever seen. One was called, what was it? Kill, Kill, Kill.
Dead.
Yeah.
2.
Because that was the only time that I laughed during the film. That wasn't me just going laughing at the film. I laughed at a purpose joke.
One of the jokes landed.
Yeah. And he brings them in there and being like, well, this is disgusting. This horror movie that, this club that you're doing, and then just like berated him with like perfect grammar.
Yeah.
Is what I really liked about it. It's like the video games and you're smoking a marijuana cigarette and it makes you crazy and all this stuff. And I was just, the only thing I could think of, I was like, is this like an old 90s bubblegum commercial? Where it's like, your parents won't let you try fruit stripe gum.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. It's like
You better not be going to the sock hop. Let me tell you.
And like even like the way like the way he walked around, and like he very stiff, and the way he was dressed in like fucking way too much velvet or corduroy and a bow tie. It's like, this is like a cartoon character.
Yeah. He's like a college history professor or something.
Yeah.
He looks like a fucking, what's his name, Sutherland in Animal House.
Yeah.
Except but not smoking pot. Not having fun.
And he was like the same size as Eddie Furlong too. He's like the same height.
Yeah,
Well,
they
yeah,
were
that's-
basically the same.
That's because Eddie Furlong is probably only 2 days younger than him.
Which one of you guys said that all of this would have been solved early in the movie if they would have just smoked a joint?
I did.
Yeah, if Eddie Furlong would have just been like, you know what, there's this girl over here I can't get with. I'm frustrated. My mom died untimely.
Yeah.
My dad is always gone, so I'm always here by myself. My friend is pretty fucking annoying. I just want life to be better. I just want to play a video game and tell my Alexa machine to call people all the time.
Yeah.
Could I just have a hit off that dude?
Yeah.
And then somebody goes, yeah, and he goes, wow, I can just travel all kinds of places inside my own brain.
If he like, this movie would have been about me at the age of 22 if he'd have just smoked a joint and watched Evil Dead instead. Like, it's, either that or like, I get it, it's a high tense thing. You're full of all kinds of hormones and what have you. I have a theory that you should rub one out before you make any, even the most small decisions.
Yeah.
Certainly before you should replay the murder video game.
Totally.
Like, if he just rubbed one out, he would be a lot more clear-minded. He wouldn't be covered in milk, probably. Like, he would be fine, and he'd be like, think to himself, like, oh, every time I play this video game, I kill somebody. I should probably not play this video game.
So I feel like you're telling us this because Gary has a podcast called Which is Better, where he has to decide between two things, which is better. So
What we're asking you, Gary, is, Gary, which is better, getting high or rubbing one out?
oh man, both at the same time are the best.
I can't
It makes it so
That's-
much better.
yeah, that actually is.
Well,
I'm not.
I can't stay focused sometimes if I try to do
I do
that.
get a little distracted.
I get very distracted.
Like, what's this weird advertisement over here?
Oh, yeah.
You
Or
start
just be,
clicking on other stuff.
Yeah.
I'll just hear something in the room and be like, whoa.
God. The kind of things you'll hear in porn, especially if you're high, you're just like, what is this person saying? And then you want to share it with somebody, but you're like, there's nobody I can really share it with.
Yeah. Except us.
Yeah. Sometimes I like BBW stuff, and there was one that was like, yeah, look at my big old belly. You like my big old belly? And I was like, all right, we're clicking off on this.
You're making this real.
Yeah, don't draw attention to it. At
Yeah,
least.
I've had to stop my porn viewing indefinitely as we speak because I'd stopped watching it purely for jack purposes.
Yeah.
And started just watching stuff. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
there's
I've had
a
those
whole
moments.
it's bad. It's real bad. And there would be ones, the Streetwalker stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's a rabbit hole I don't want anybody else to go down. That's the reason why I'm putting out this PSA right now, because you'll eventually see ladies freebasing. Whenever I saw the little clip, I was like, oh, they're smoking weed, so this might be a good ending.
Right.
Oh, it was not a good ending.
Crack.
It started out of them straight up freebasing, and I was like, holy moly. At that point, I couldn't go, oh, I got to turn this off. I'll be like,
You don't want to mix morals in with your genitals.
Absolutely. There was no blood flow downstairs.
Yeah.
Let me trust me. This one, for once, was a decently attractive girl wearing a bustier. So I was like, okay, well, maybe they just need a little bit of crack to loosen up so they can do this film. Yeah, where I was just like, and like I said, hand not on dong during this. I'm like just sitting there.
I want to meet the person who's like on the third date, and it's like the sex date, and it's not going as well as they think it should be, and he thinks to himself, maybe just needs a little crack to loosen up.
Just a little rock form cocaine would
Like
work.
that's already sketchy enough. Like what you're describing.
Yeah. Oh, this does not end well. So they start doing stuff like mommies and daddies do. She on top.
The Devil's Congress.
That's the one. And they're going about their day. He's being very rude to her, which I don't like at all. Whenever somebody's just calling a girl like just horrid names the entire time.
Don't be mean.
Yeah, just don't be mean about it. I mean, you gave her crack. It doesn't mean you could like bully her. And she's on top. It's very labored, and which I thought crack sped you up. It doesn't. It kind of makes you a little aloof, I guess. And so I just scrubbed through to be like, how's this end?
Yeah,
just get this over with.
Let me spoiler alert, he comes.
No. It was
God.
It was very different. And there was So it gets to the end and he's just saying all kinds of bad names. And she was so you couldn't really see it, but the dickhead fell out. And he's like, you stupid bitch, put this back in you. And she goes, okay. And she reaches her hand down, and the camera goes down too. Blood everywhere.
Oh, my God.
And she this is how it ends. Oh, God, I'm bleeding.
Oh, Lord.
Then credits.
Jesus.
That's whenever I was like, I am done with pornography. Yeah. I am no more for me.
Oh, God.
Not even the pleasurable kind. I just need to be around humans I love and respect.
Yeah.
And if this has been a moral tale to help anybody else out there, if not, just know that...
you know what? I retract my statement. Don't jerk off ever again, guys.
Yeah, not going to.
It's not worth the fucking risk.
It's not worth the risk of you become desensitized and you have to watch everything.
Yeah. I mean,
even the weird stuff.
There's definitely times where it's like, I need to take a break. You see something like that, and you're just like, yeah, fuck this. I don't even want to know that I have a dick at this point.
Yeah, because like you said, things do kind of feel a little better when you're a little stoned. But your brain, you get like so untethered with things, like you will start going down rabbit holes, and then you just come crashing back down to reality.
By the way, I'm glad that I was stone cold sober whenever I watched that, because I would have
That's
probably...
not helping my image of you.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, sometimes it just keeps on happening. You're clicking. You're like, okay, well, this is getting weirder and weirder, but I got to see, and I never watched anything that where somebody got hurt or anything. Well, that one, I don't know if she was hurt or period star.
Shit wasn't going well.
No, for nobody.
Things were not going according to plan. Any story that starts off, well, they were smoking crack, doesn't end well.
By the way, when you watch the little thumbnail part of it, it didn't look like crack. It looked like they were just smoking pot. And I was like, okay, well, like I said, this might be a happy one.
Yeah.
Because the rest is just stuff in cars. And this one, I was just like, oh, boy. Oh, no.
I tried watching porn on acid.
How'd that go?
It wasn't great, I'll tell you. Because you don't want to see faces, and then, of course, you don't want to see porn stars' faces.
Yeah.
Just like,
some of those people are not HD ready.
Yeah, so that didn't last long. It was like, I'm out of here. This isn't for me right now. I can't handle human suffering.
Well, I guess that brings us to the inevitable conclusion. America's favorite game sensation that's sweeping the nation. Fuck
Mary
Machete.
To come in on that.
Well, I mean, this is how we set it up.
I don't know if I want to talk about dirty stuff like this.
Well, that's just gotta. Way to bring it down, Josh.
I stopped bringing it down. I
think we're done with the show. Like there's not going to be any more. You piece of shit.
Rob, you should start. I went into a dark place, and I'm getting out of it.
Yeah, because I'm the guy that you go to bring things to a fucking happy
I know.
place.
That's yeah.
All right. Fuck. Clearly, the answer is the only woman in the movie.
Yeah.
Is the red-haired, the next-door neighbor, very plain-looking, what have you. She's got like a eyebrow situation that
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of into it. I don't know what that says about me, but
Big eyebrows are coming back amongst you.
I know the fucking Bernie Sanders look is
Yeah.
working for me with the ladies. So she's there, like I said, she A, only woman in the movie. B, for a 16-year-old girl, wears a lot of lingerie, which I respect.
Yeah, she a freako. She really is.
I'm okay with it. And then, like, clearly, like, I don't know why there was any, like, dispute whether or not she was into dude, because, like, he goes to her house the first time, and then she's, like, there every 5 minutes after he shows the least amount of interest. She's like, I brought you your homework, and I brought you your mail, and I brought you this picture of you taking a bath. Like, like she's just clearly into Eddie Furlong. And I'm assuming I'm Eddie Furlong in this scenario. If I'm going to marry anybody, trickster.
Yeah.
You're going to marry the trickster? You're going to make him an honest man?
I'm going to make an honest man of him. Keen fashion sense. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, he looks like the type of dude that I would like to hang out with. Like,
Yeah.
He likes fucking Primus.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny. Although he ripped off, like, that breaking of the fingers fucking gag. He ripped that off from Nightmare on Elm Street. But that means he's seen Nightmare on Elm Street.
You guys will have so much to talk about.
Yeah. We could fucking party, man. I'm putting a ring on that shit. And then I'm going to kill police officer Frank Langella. Just because he does come off like not like creepy, like, not that there's anything wrong with a dude being into another dude, but there's a lot wrong with the creepy way he's looking at this child. Like, he's a minor, and he's breaking all kinds of law. Like, he breaks into his house trying to get closer to him.
Yeah, he does. He just has a spoon in a baggie, and he just scoops up ashes.
And he's just like all these longing looks, and there's some kind of subtext that, like, he shows up in the bedroom and sees Eddie Furlong confessing his love to a woman, and that sends him off into a murderous rage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he just goes murderer and shoots him. And that's how he wakes up out of his fever dream of a video game.
Yeah. Is Frank Langella being pissed because he knows he'll never have him.
That's funny. He's just jealous.
Yeah, he'll never. It's like he loves this girl, and I will never possess his heart, so I have to kill him.
You murdered my feelings.
Detective Frank, what's the charge? A broken heart.
Yeah. And that's emotional fucking terrorism. So fuck that guy.
His heart's lined in chalk on the fucking ground.
All right, you're up.
Is it my turn?
You're up. Fucking.
Well, I guess I have to
Try not to creep us out this time.
I didn't do all that stuff. I just saw it.
Yeah, I just voluntarily sat there and
sat there and
watched it to its conclusion without
Just
even
saying.
masturbating.
Some people get to the edge of the fucking cliff and they jump off. People like me got to the edge, looked over, and went, "That looks bad. I'm just going to back up real fast."
I will go as far as say, in your defense, there are, like, I remember, like, when the Faces of Death movie came out.
Yeah.
Or the 15 fucking versions of the compilation of it. I remember when I rented it the first time, or, like, my parents rented it, and I was, like, fucking 12 or 13.
It's insane.
Yeah. My parents let us watch way too much fucked up shit way too fucking young.
A ditto on that.
And, like, I remember me, my mom, my dad, and my sister all watching it. The only person who wasn't in the room was my fucking brother, who was a toddler.
He was watching a Serbian film in the other room.
He was outside breaking, like, necks of cats. Like, we watched it, and, like, I don't know about anybody, but even at 13, I remember having this feeling like, I'm not watching this because I want to watch this. I'm watching it because it exists, and I wonder what kind of piece of shit watches this.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Everybody looks at it like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how you like
that's
that
exactly
fucking thing.
what it
Yeah.
was. Just to be like, I can't believe that this is really happening. And
Exactly.
then whenever I saw it really happen, I went, okay, I'm good.
You're like,
I
oh,
don't-
like, oh my God, this is such a fucking tragedy. What kind of monster would watch this? But here's the thing. You're that fucking monster because everybody feels that way.
Totally.
Nobody, like, it's financed by people wondering what kind of piece of shit watches this.
Yeah. Once again, it's you look into the void long enough.
Yeah.
The void looks back, and
Yeah.
then you have to be like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
I gotta go back to my judgment house real quick and confess my sins and
Talk to the
whatnot.
Lord.
Oh, that's what we call the apartment.
In my apartment,
go.
the
The
judgment
Judgment
house.
Pretty good.
There we go. Salem's
My
Lot.
roommate is going to be pissed. Okay, let's get down to fuck, marry, machete. If I want to fuck somebody, of course the girl, but no. Remember the mom that died, and we just saw her in photographs?
Yeah, we just saw that weird gnarly wound.
Yeah, I'm going to fuck the ghost of his mom, so I can, in a way, become the dad that Edward Furlong longed for. Edward Furlonged for. So that's what I'm going to do.
I don't mean to be this guy, but like if I'm a child and my dad's very distant and my mom's dead, I don't think I'm going to attach myself to the guy that's fucking my mom's ghost/dead body.
Well, that's fine. Well, maybe Eddie is.
right.
Me and him are going to be pals.
He's a weird kid.
Drink some milk.
I'm going to bring him tons of warm milk and just leave it laying around, so he'll just be like, man, this guy is pretty cool.
Maybe he drinks milk because he misses his mom. Maybe
Oh,
that's what
mother's
that was
milk.
about. Yeah.
Just staring at them long. I bet his mom had long titties.
She probably did.
I'll find out in the hereafter.
Report back.
So that leaves me. I'm going to have to marry somebody. Detective Frank, I can't remember his last name.
Franklin Gella.
Yeah,
I
Franklin
don't,
Gehry.
I don't know what his character's name is. Just Franklin Gella.
Yeah, Franklin Gale.
Skeletor.
Skeletor. I'm going to not marry him, but he has a partner. He has a partner that dies untimely by
Yeah.
pulling a gun on a group of men with guns
Yeah.
that were clearly on his side, that he just saw be on his side, I think, and dies. Before that happens, I'm going to marry him, mainly because he's an unsung hero in here. He was doing a lot of detective work, never even really had his name in the credits, and once he dies, I get that fucking pension. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
okay.
I get to collect a little government money,
All right.
which has been my dream to
That's
be
it.
disabled
That's-
for a very long time.
I'm just trying to fuck the tax man.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to get a fucking check
Yeah.
and
With
some
it.
decent VA health care.
My fucking career goals at this point are to be injured by a city vehicle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just want to slip and fall in the right Kroger and just hurt myself bad enough to where they just go, here's $2 million. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, $2 million?
The dream.
Cool.
Yeah, like I knocked up. Seth Rogen has like how he's been living has been he got run over. His foot was run over by a bus, and I'm like, oh fuck, I want that. So
Murder. Machete. Who am I going to kill in here that it's such a murderable movie?
Yeah.
There's a lot. There should have been a lot more murder in this movie, to be
Yeah.
honest. Okay, so towards the end of the film, there's a gal that looks kind of hippie-ish, and she starts talking to the sidekick, the very annoying sidekick. Nah, I don't want to murder her. She's trying to do the Lord's work and try to make that boy a man. I'm going to kill the Igor machine because that sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool. I sort of remember seeing it as a kid and being like, that's pretty neat. I wish I had one of those, but now there's Alexas everywhere.
yeah, I was gonna say I now have that machine, and I don't give a like.
Yeah.
I barely use it.
Yeah, everybody's just yelling out at their phones like, hey, phone, do this shit. And it's just fucking annoying. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw a fucking axe, hatchet, machete, fucking maybe a bomb, just roll a grenade up underneath that.
You're
and
gonna
just-
do the same thing Eddie Furlong did at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah, he did freak out quite a bit, didn't he? So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
follow the Furlong and follow your heart.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna fuck the bleeding crackhead from the video that Josh directed.
It was me the entire time.
Just got a GoPro slapped to your head. Hey, one on your head and one on the face of your dick.
That's where you watch it. And it's waterproof because,
Yeah.
No, I think I would, of course, fuck the girl. I mean, she's about the only person.
Yeah.
No,
Unless you want to start experimenting, it's really your only
Yeah.
choice.
I take that back. I'm gonna fuck Eddie Furlong's knee in the first scene. Looks like a cherry pie. Looks pretty good.
out of the history of this podcast, that's the first that's the first wound that's been fucked.
Okay,
I think.
all right.
I don't know. We'd have to do
Yeah,
research.
there's
I'm
gonna have
sure.
to. You guys write us at Blood Camper if you can remember if that's
At Wound Fuckers on Twitter.
Marry. I'm probably gonna marry. Probably the fucking trickster. I think just because I feel like I'd have access to some cool shit.
Yeah.
I'd probably kill him too, though, if
Yeah.
I could. I'd
You can
definitely
do
be
both.
It'd be an abusive relationship for sure.
This is one of the hardest fuck, marry, machetes we've had
Yeah.
because everybody's so unlikable.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of unlikable people in the movies me and Rob review. And this is up there in the top notch of that.
I'm going to marry the droplet of milk on Eddie Furlong's neck.
Do you just go complete inanimate objects and wounds?
I know who I want to
Stick my
kill.
dick in that glass.
Yeah, I'm going to fuck a glass of milk. My dick's got a milk mustache. I know who I definitely want to murder, and that's Eddie Furlong's friend.
No,
Yeah.
Fucking hated that kid.
It
Just
is.
something about his face.
Well, he would make weird facial expressions constantly.
Yeah. I just want to strangle him with a denim vest.
He just seemed like he was trying to be zany all the fucking time. Like he's one of those dudes that's always on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you hate that shit. Like he's fun for 10 minutes and then it's like, shut the fuck up, Kyle.
He was so bad that normally I would say, hey, that's just a teenager. They'll grow out of it. I couldn't guarantee that with this kid. He's probably like that in real life.
He probably
Probably is.
is.
And like he's not even a teenager in real life. In real life, he was probably 30 at the time,
Yeah.
which means he is that fucking asshole.
Terrible.
Yeah, he probably wrote the movie. He looks like the guy who wrote the movie.
He was just hanging out with Joe Perry and just being like, come on.
Dude, let's do a movie with a weird gay scary guy that loves milk.
Can we set it in an elevator? Yes.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, that was fucking brain scan.
Yeah.
Again, not a lot of brain scanning.
No, none.
No,
Very few brains.
none that I'm aware of.
Only one action scene. I guess we did leave out there was a semi-action scene with Edward Furlong trying to get rid of the evidence of the severed human foot.
Yeah, that
and
that
a
was
dog
pretty
got
great.
it. That's about the only. Yeah, there's two parts of this movie that would make it slightly less unbearable.
Yeah.
And it's not even like that wasn't even a gory scene. That was that was a perfect encapsulation of this is hilarious for all of the wrong reasons because
Yeah.
Eddie Furlong took that guy's foot for reasons he even doesn't understand. So he's
Yeah.
trying to get rid of it. So he throws it in a bowling ball bag and drags it and a shovel into the middle of the woods and then stops paying attention to the human foot, which I would always have my eyes on the foot. If I'm worried about I'm going to jail otherwise, I'm not. That foot is never leaving my sight.
Oh, that would at least be like in the pocket where I keep my keys.
Oh, yeah.
I would just be like, bloop, right there.
You just got it in a fanny pack.
And that fanny pack around my neck. So I
He
could
didn't
not
even
lose
have
it.
to bury it. He could have honestly put a lampshade on it and set it in his room, and it just would have.
He could have
yeah.
just at that point, like no one suspected him of that murder, so
No.
like he could have just left it in there with the tater tots and pizza rolls, and it would have been fine.
And also, what a shitty game! You're just
Yeah.
If that's the game, you just trying to avoid
Detection,
getting, avoid getting prosecuted. That was the game.
Yeah, that's exactly what that game
boring.
was.
It's incredibly laborious, but not exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now you got to go down to the county clerk and file some paperwork. Awesome.
Yeah, you got to buy a patch of property so so the feds won't come looking on it, so you can bury one foot.
You got to register the foot as a comfort animal,
It's got a little red vest.
so you can, so you can take it on a plane.
And everybody's real annoyed in a grocery store, like, yeah, guy doesn't need that severed
Yeah,
foot.
that's some bullshit. I bet it's just anxiety, some dumb
Yeah,
shit.
he's just a mama's baby.
Yeah,
Well, he was actually.
yeah, actually, yeah, it was kind of a mama's. It was a recurring theme in the movie.
Yeah,
Anywho,
but it still didn't make you care for him at all.
actually, the mom dying really didn't need to happen. If you narratively from that, like if you think about it, like it never really comes up as to why both parents could have easily just been neglectful ass parents.
Yeah.
And in a couple of lines where like the trickster's like, "Did you kill your fucking mom?" or whatever, like he references it, but like he does not seem to have any ill effects from it.
It could have been a divorce.
Yeah.
It could have just been a fucking divorce.
I mean, I guess we wouldn't have had any sympathy for him at all then.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because then he would have just been a
Piece of
fucking
shit.
creep.
Yeah.
Yeah, a shitty rich kid, that creeps on women
Yeah.
and likes scary movies and has the worst friend in the world. And everything he ever wanted, it was in his bedroom at that time.
What you're saying is he would be Rob Haynes, and the reason that they killed his mom is so that I don't feel bad.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, good. Gary, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Where can we find you and the podcast and all that other shit?
You can find me at GaryIsYou on Twitter and Instagram. As far as the podcast goes, go to whichisbetterpod.com and whichisbetterer on Twitter.
Betterer?
Yeah.
Nice.
So an ER at the end. So yeah, check out the podcast more than anything else, I'd say.
It's really good. It's really good.
You have a pretty good internet presence. I like your Twitter.
Thanks, man.
Your Twitter's fucking funny.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's usually just me being upset and then saying things I shouldn't.
That's it, exactly. Like I said, a good internet presence.
It's Twitter.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you can find us. I'm at Rob Haynes at all the horse shit.
Yeah. I'm at the Josh from 10 on all the other horse shit, too.
But
this movie is really taking it out of us. This movie and me talking about a porn rabbit hole I went into has just kicked us right in the balls.
there's been so many episodes where we learn something really dark about the other.
Yep, it's true.
And if you want to hear more dark shit or get involved with our fucking horrible lives, you can. Shoot us an email if you had comments or frankly you just want to lambast us for shit at lettersfromcampblood@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at lettersfromcampblood. Actually, no, we're not on Twitter at Letters from Camp Blood.
Yeah, we're at Blood Camper
at Blood
on Twitter.
Camper. And if you're sitting on Letters from Camp Blood at Twitter, holler.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a 5 spot for it.
I got like
we'll
$9.
bring you on the show. We'll make you watch a movie. It ain't any good.
You find out the trickster has it.
Oh,
It's my Twitter.
Yeah. I just want to. That's another thing.
I'll trade it to you for the other foot.
If they would have just had like a guitar part whenever he came in, that would make more sense too. Like a little.
Yeah. I'll edit that.
But and also, guys, there's another implore. We appreciate each and every last one of you for inviting us into your ear holes each and every other week. And but if you could do us a huge favor, just tell your friends out here in Meat World. And if you want to go one further, drop us a review and a 5-star rating on whatever podcast thing that you use, be it your iTunes, your Googles, your Stitchers. All that kind of stuff. Whatever makes you happy. It's good for us in the algorithm. You can say that we're bad people because there's anecdotal evidence for that.
Yeah.
But just whatever it is, write a review, and it's good for us in the algorithm. Helps us find other people out there, and helps other people find us.
And we need to be found. We're lost
Yeah,
in this.
we're fucking trying to create like a creepy kid community, mostly to stroke our own ego.
Mm-hmm. That's the major part of it, to be honest.
If you could do that, that'd be awesome. But beyond that, thank you very much. Have a great week.
Ta-ta.
Bye.